Hi guys, welcome back to our channel.
If you haven't seen our channel before, my name is Jonathan.
I'm Ashton.
And together with our son Jack, we are the Black Forest family.
Now, in a prior video, we shared with you some of the differences between driving in Germany versus driving in the United States. And while we thought that was a really nice introduction, we also felt like that didn't exactly tell the whole story.
Yeah, we've always been itching to do a follow-up video.
Yeah, exactly, because quite frankly, driving in Germany, well, it encompasses pretty much all of the biggest culture shocks that we've experienced since moving here.
Yeah, such as the misconceptions by many Americans of what it's actually like driving on the German Autobahn, to trying to navigate something like TÜV to get your car inspected and licensed for the road.
And unfortunately, I'm sorry for our American friends and family if you happen to be watching this video, but we are in fact actually going to break down some pretty big myths that you probably hold when thinking about what driving in Germany is really like.
Yeah, so sorry guys, some things have to be cleared up.
Yeah, exactly. So I think enough talking. Let's hit the road. Yeah, hit the road, Jack. Don't you go
Oh, Jack's
back.
not here.
I know. Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
He's in Kita.
He's in Kita today. Won't be joining us, but nonetheless.
We'll still have some fun.
Yeah, let's buckle up and let's get this video started.
Yeah, let's get going.
Okay, so as Americans, we can personally attest to the fact that in the USA, the Autobahn has achieved this mythical, legendary status.
Yeah, so as Americans, we're led to believe that the Autobahn is this great holy highway that is wide open and you can just race across Germany the entire way, full speed with nothing in your way at all.
Yeah, so naturally, there are at least 100, if not hundreds, of YouTube videos out there of Americans experiencing the Autobahn for the first time, pushing the pedal to the metal and testing out their car's max speed. Slow down! It's so fast! But the thing is, it's not shocking at all. Those type of videos still surprise us because driving on the Autobahn, well, the truth is, oh, now we're just braking. This is so anticlimactic.
This is the Autobahn.
We're supposed to be
This is the Autobahn.
This is the Autobahn.
And
Really
then
fast.
you just brake.
Really fast, really fast, really fast, really fast.
Slam on the brakes.
And slam on the brakes. Okay.
So what? The Autobahn is wide open, I think 60%, but what people soon find out is that 60% often is filled with a Stau, or a traffic jam, and very rarely are you able to actually get your car up to its maximum speed.
Yeah, like Jonathan said, those unlimited areas, they're short. In fact, 30% of the Autobahn in Germany has a required speed limit, and another 10% has a variable speed limit that sometimes changes with time of day, with time of weather, or during certain times of traffic. So while, don't get us wrong, you can certainly get a little bit of a thrilling experience flying as fast as you can, between those short sections and the traffic and the Stau that is inevitably to happen, the reality of driving on the Autobahn is just quite frankly so much more different than the legend that we were led to believe as Americans. In fact, the three biggest political parties in Germany have actually expressed interest in introducing nationwide speed limits. Studies have illustrated that introducing speed limits would not only improve the safety and traffic flow, but it could also cut emissions by nearly 2 million tons per year.
And ultimately, Germans are actually in favor of introducing a nationwide speed limit.
According to a 2021 poll by public broadcaster ARD, 60% of Germans agree that there should be a speed limit of at least 130 kilometers per hour or 80 miles per hour. The poll found that curbing highway speeds was a much more popular piece of climate policy than other options, such as taxing different products.
So at the end of the day, the Autobahn is not this crazy race car drive all day type of experience that many people have made it out to be. I mean, in their defense, you can find sections that allow you to do that, but most of the time that is not reality. Don't get me wrong, I would love to rent a BMW M3 and just rip across Germany as fast as I can, but today we are in a very slow car share. So if you came here looking for an American reaction to an Autobahn high-speed run, this really isn't going to do it for you, but hopefully with some clever editing work.
Yeah, hey, maybe we can
make it a little spicy.
Yeah, maybe I can work a little bit of magic here and make it seem like a shocking, fast, crazy video for YouTube entertainment's sake.
So while driving on the Autobahn can be relaxing, it is still quite a high stress experience.
Yeah, Germany, we love you, we really do. But you guys are pretty intense sometimes when it comes to just driving in general.
Yeah, one of the culture shocks for me when I was moving here and driving for the first time is just by how aggressive and high pressured some of the drivers can be just on a day-to-day drive. So I have been in similar driving situations in the United States, such as driving through New York City, but that's a little bit different because that is basically stress fueled by chaos.
Yeah.
And here in Germany, it's stress fueled by strictly following the rules to the T.
Yeah, and I should say that I feel like on a whole, like if you were to sort of group all of the Americans together versus all the Germans together, I would say that Americans are usually a bit more relaxed when it comes to driving. Like, I mean, I, on the other hand, am sort of like the opposite end of the spectrum, like the other extreme. I'm from the country. I've shared before, my dad is a farmer. So I'm from a part of the country where you'll be driving down a rural road and you'll see a complete stranger and you're still expected to like wave at them as they pass you on the road.
Yeah, which is actually kind of funny because every time we get a rental car and drive down these country roads, like not in a pickup truck, just a random car, they still wave.
Yeah.
I wave back. They don't know me. But...
No, and I feel like where I'm from also, they're almost like too polite to a fault. Like you'll find yourself at a four-way stop and it's totally normal for like the other person will have the right of way and they will still be like, no, you go first. You go ahead. You go ahead. I'm not in a hurry.
I think that's a good example for where you're from in the country. Where that's pretty common, but when you get to the cities, it is a little bit different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in Germany, we have actually tried to do this before. We get to a four-way stop and we just say, oh, go ahead, we're not in a hurry. They look at you like you're a complete idiot.
Yeah,
but we understand why. It's because it's your turn to go. You go. Why would I go? That doesn't make sense.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's just like a different like overall driving style that we find just really fascinating overall. But I think the interesting thing is we are actually not alone in this observation of the difference between German drivers and American drivers. There are numerous articles out there about just how aggressive German drivers are and how laid back American drivers can really run into problems here. In fact, a recent survey by Germany's transport ministry found that over 80% of drivers on German roads said other people behind the wheel have become increasingly rude.
So we don't want to say this to be mean. From our experience, the aggressiveness mostly just comes from being in a hurry, following the rules specifically, and getting where you need to go from point A to point B. Like an example here might be a foreigner not knowing where they are and taking too long to turn and just getting honked at and yelled at and getting raced around.
Yeah, there might be maybe, I don't know, like again, like we don't mean this to point out like negatives or to be mean. It just sort of feels like maybe there isn't so much a patience for people who aren't adhering to the rules.
Yeah, or that just generally moving too slow.
Yeah, from time to time, for sure.
Okay, everybody, I hope you're enjoying today's video of culture shocks for Americans driving in Germany.
And as many of you guys know, Jonathan and I have been working with LINGODA for the past 6 months to improve our language skills. So it probably goes without saying that, of course, speaking German is incredibly important for driving in Germany.
Okay, so funny story time. Right after I moved here, I bought a car and I went to go pick up one of my friends at the train station, and I went down into the parking garage to park so I can go and grab him, and the arm wasn't going up and I wasn't getting a little ticket. The funny thing here is it said besetzt, and I had no idea what that meant because, as you all know, when I moved here, I didn't know any German at all. So for all I knew, it wasn't working and I didn't know what to do. So I started actually backing out, and somebody came up behind me and started yelling at me saying, "Do not do that." And then they explained to me what besetzt means, and it's just full, which means you wait your turn, somebody has to leave, you get your ticket, you go in, and then you find out where they parked and you take that spot. But I looked like a proper American idiot.
But the reality is, whether you're driving in Germany or driving in any new foreign country, speaking the language is an incredibly important skill to have, which is why we cannot speak highly enough of our experience partnering with LINGODA.
LINGODA is an online language school that connects students across the world with native level teachers in live classes to learn a language. Currently, they offer classes to learn English, business English, Spanish, French, or German. LINGODA hosts one-on-one or group learning sessions on Zoom for a range of abilities from beginner to advanced.
And classes are available 24/7 and offer a highly immersive learning experience.
But being more eloquent in German means not only understanding if a parking garage is full or not, but I can also understand what the temporary street signs mean on the road, which are often written in German. So if you really want to jumpstart your language learning, you need to check out the LINGODA Language Sprint. This intensive language challenge where you are challenged to take either 15 or 30 classes a month for 2 months. But here's the best part. If you attend all of the classes, you can get 50 or 100% cash back. That's right, you get to essentially learn a language for free.
But because you watch our videos and follow along on our adventures, we have a pretty cool offer that we can share with you. Use the code ASHTONMAY or the link down in the description of this video to get 20 euros or $25 off the deposit. So why not join us? Boost your language learning to help you navigate new landscapes, even if that means driving right here in Germany.
Okay, so I think the next point worth making in this video is just the seriousness to which German drivers take car maintenance. I mean, to be quite honest, guys, you all are known internationally as being the country of drivers who keep their cars in tip-top shape.
Yeah, a good example of this is when we sold our BMW 3 years ago. We sold it to a French family, and they were actively searching for a German-owned BMW because they knew it was going to be in impeccable, tip-top shape. And when I moved to Germany and bought the car, I had no idea how expensive and intensive these inspections are going to have to be for me to just keep the car on the road and legal.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not to say that in the United States there isn't like the general idea or suggestion that of course you should keep up with maintenance on your car. I mean, it's totally common for people, of course, to have oil changes and tire rotations, but it's not necessarily like legal law regulations to do so, at least not all over the United States. And let me explain. In the United States, only 15 states have a periodic, whether it's annual or biennial, safety inspection program. While Maryland does require a safety inspection and Alabama requires a VIN inspection on sale or transfer of vehicles which were previously registered in another state. An additional 16 states do require periodic emissions inspections. But again, the fact that it's not nationwide, we found to be pretty surprising. So we actually thought it would be kind of interesting as a comparison for this video to actually look at what the regulations are in the state of Missouri. Because as we've shared in a couple of other videos, both Jonathan and I went to the University of Missouri. And yeah, things are quite shockingly different from Missouri to Germany. Effective August 28th, 2019, motor vehicles for the first 10 years following the model year of manufacture and having less than 150 miles, which is about 240 kilometers on the odometer, are actually exempt from the safety inspection requirement. And vehicles displaying historical plates are completely exempt from inspection.
Yeah, I've talked in the past about the classic car I still have in the United States, old 69 Oldsmobile 442, and basically, you know, it being licensed in Missouri, if there is air in the tires and it can stop, that's pretty much a requisite for it being able to drive down the road.
Yeah, it's almost quite interesting, I feel like, because there is sort of this like saying that like, you driving around that old rust bucket, because quite literally your car could have rust all over it and it's still completely legal to drive on the roads.
Yeah, like my brother's Land Cruiser he bought when he was in high school, and the engine fell out while he was driving down the street. Sorry, Travis.
I still can't believe, like, the engine literally just like fell onto the street.
He has a completely different story, but that's what happens.
Okay, but I should say, if you're a German watching this video, you're also probably well aware of the fact that here in Germany, there actually are pretty strict regulations on car maintenance, just in order to have your car legally allowed to drive on the road. After a car has been in use for 3 years, it must be tested every 24 months. The testing is carried out on behalf of the federal government by private organizations like TÜV and DEKRA. Consequently, the technical inspection is often colloquially referred to as TÜV.
So for our American friends watching, TÜV is basically an organization that will check your car to make sure it meets environmental regulations and safety regulations.
And what we found to be also extremely interesting is that, like, when you go through a TÜV inspection, you actually receive like a full written report on the health and safety of your vehicle, which is pretty cool. And in fact, if your car has passed, you will be issued a round inspection sticker to display on your rear license plate.
And if your car fails this inspection, you have 1 month to get the repairs in order, come back and you can get it re-inspected. If you fail to do so, or if it fails again, you have to again get the repairs fixed and you have to pay for the full TÜV inspection.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
So this whole TÜV inspection thing really hit home for me when we sold our BMW, like in 2007, and I went to go get the 2-year TÜV inspection right before it was being sold, and I had to pay about 2,500 euros in replacing the brake lines because they were a bit corroded, and the rear suspension because they also had some corrosion problems, probably from driving up and down Schoensland to go cross-country skiing.
Yeah, so it goes to show that they're gonna hold you to those pretty strict inspections for sure.
And it can get expensive. But again, this is all because safety is the #1 priority. Your car should be safe on the road. If it's not, you're putting other people at risk.
And the German preoccupation with safety, well, it doesn't end there. In Germany, every driver is required by law to have a first aid kit, a safety triangle, and a reflective vest in the case of emergency. In addition, German drivers are also required to put on winter tires in the wintertime, although all-season tires will also mostly suffice. And in addition, motorcyclists in Germany are required to wear a helmet. And it should be noted that some of these things are sometimes required in some states in the United States, but there is no federal law on any of these items in the US.
All right, so now that we've established the fact that maintenance on your vehicle here in Germany is very much required, I, like many of my American friends, were shocked to find out that you are not able to perform most maintenance on your own vehicle here in Germany. And I know I've told you guys before about the classic car I inherited from my dad, 1969 Oldsmobile 442 convertible, and mostly by myself in my mom's garage with an internet connection and a mechanic's book. I pulled the engine out, rebuilt it, put it back in, redid the entire braking system, redid the suspension, redid the interior, and I was allowed to continue it driving down the street without having any inspections done on the vehicle. And I was by no means a professional mechanic. I did my research. I watched a lot of car shows on TV with everybody doing these types of repairs, and I tackled it myself, and I was for the most part successful. But by comparison, according to German law, yes, German law, you are not allowed to carry out significant maintenance in your home auto garage in Germany, even if you have the equipment and knowledge to get it done. Such work includes changing oil, working in the inner engine compartment, and dropping down the transmission or the axle. Okay, so I do have to point out why this is. There is some logic behind this. So for the most part, your home garage is not secure enough. There could be issues with environmental problems, and you could also have a fire hazard. Or you could simply not have the right tool while your engine's not in the car and you are stuck there with no way to get the parts that you need. Yeah, but so for the most part, very minor maintenance, which I have done myself here in Germany, which you can get away with, is replacing light bulbs, windshield wipers, and some just basic replacement items like this. But this is a significant departure from the regulations in the United States. So to be fair, there are some places in the United States which have similar regulations to that here in Germany, but it is very rare. For example, residents of Sacramento County in California are not permitted to even conduct minor automotive repairs such as brake part replacement, minor tune-ups, change of oil and filter, or repair of flat tires if it renders the car inoperable for more than 24 hours. But the oversight and regulations here in Germany of car maintenance really took us by surprise, even though they do make sense.
But to be honest, all of the regulations about car maintenance, while they may be quite shocking for us as Americans, they do make a lot of sense. I mean, I honestly didn't believe Jonathan the first time he told me that washing your car in Germany, well, in most parts of Germany, is illegal to do at your own home. You have to come to one of the car wash places just like this in order to do it because of concerns about water pollution. And again, this makes a ton of sense, but there is no way that a law like this would normally exist in the United States.
So last but not least, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about how expensive it is to just begin driving in Germany in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the United States, you can generally anticipate that the cost of obtaining a driver's license, well, it's going to vary from state to state, naturally. We found that it can generally range anywhere from as low as $20 to as high as $1,000. And all of that essentially boils down to whether or not you're required by your state to actually take private driving instruction. For example, in my experience, I got my driver's license in Illinois. I actually had driver's ed as part of our public school system. So like I took driver's ed in my high school, just like I took math class or science class. It was just another class that we enrolled in. We took practice driving lessons with the teacher. And ultimately, the only cost I really had was actually to pay for the actual license itself at the DMV, which I think cost me only about like $30, which is really cheap.
But by contrast, in Germany, you are required to take 14 theory classes and a minimum of 12 driving lessons. And this could be up to 50 driving lessons. It's just dependent on how quickly you're progressing.
Yeah, and the costs associated with these theoretical and practical driving lessons, well, it's much more expensive in Germany. We went online to try to look at a couple of driving schools here and found that it was anywhere between 1,000 and 2,000 euros from what they actually were quoting online.
Yeah, and we've actually heard from some of you in the comments where this has cost up to 4,000 or 5,000 euros just to get your driving license.
Yeah, so it seems like there's a lot of variability here, but ultimately I think like the big take home is that it's a lot more expensive in Germany. And I think that actually probably also lends itself to the fact of why we've said in a few other videos now that we kind of feel like German drivers are just better drivers overall than American drivers.
They're better trained.
Yeah, no offense. I think it all just comes down to, again, yeah, more standard and rigorous training.
Yeah, but I think also following the rules, you don't want to have to pay to get a new license after you've already paid $4,000 for your first license.
Yeah.
So you probably want to keep it.
Yeah, it's probably an expensive mistake if you actually get it taken away.
For sure.
So I think at the end of the day, in a way, the amount of money that Germans spend to actually get their driver's license, well, I think that kind of is a nice way to sort of summarize all of the points that we've brought up in this video. It really just goes to show the seriousness of American drivers and how, I guess, like as a culture shock to us as Americans, it really like all kind of comes back to that same point. They're just more serious, they're better trained, they adhere to the rules more, again, because they care about the rules and there are consequences.
I mean, I think it also goes to show how driving is respected in Germany. Driving in Germany is a privilege. Driving in America is a right.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
At least people think so, yeah. Okay guys, before we let you go, we have one big announcement for you, and it's that we are about to celebrate our 1-year anniversary of our first video on YouTube.
Yeah, I can't believe it. It's been 1 year since we posted that video taking you along on our adventure with our son Jack to the just beautiful, picturesque Black Forest town of Freiburg. And to celebrate this anniversary, we're making an extra special video where we look back and reflect on everything we've done, seen, and learned over this first year, including not only what it means to be good storytellers, but also our experiences of learning how to edit and actually make money with YouTube as a full-fledged business.
But we also want this video to be about you, our audience, because to be quite honest, we would not be here without you.
So in the description of this video, as well as on a post in the community tab on our channel's page, we're including a link to a survey question. It's simply just a question box where we would like to have you submit questions for a Q&A session on next Sunday's video.
So feel free to ask us anything you want, what it's like for us running a YouTube channel or what our future plans might be with it.
Yeah, or maybe if you have a question on a prior video that you didn't get answered, we'd be happy to try to tackle some of those too. So again, be sure to check that link down in the description of this video and submit them over the next couple of days. We're really looking forward to sharing with you a little bit more of behind the scenes of what it takes to create these videos in our Black Forest family channel. And of course, we couldn't end this video without also posting a question to you to help answer in the comments section. You know, we've been talking a lot in this video about what our culture shocks are as Americans driving in Germany, but we would love to hear from you. What are some of the culture shocks that you've experienced when driving abroad? For the good or for the bad? What took you by surprise? Please let us know down in the comment section of this video. As always, we love hearing from you.
So that's it for our video today. Thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw today, be sure to hit that thumbs up button.
Yeah, and for more content from the Black Forest family, hit that subscribe button.
So until next time, ciao.
Tschüss!
All right, you gotta do that again. All right, so now that we've established the fact that it is very much not allowed. I'm really getting tired of doing this shot. LINGODA is an online language school that
Why'd we pick the day that they come and like chop down all the trees in the Black Forest, like every single one?
This will be good for the bloopers. Think he's done yet? Timber! Nay.